In this lesson, we're going to be talking about spoofing traffic. There's a lot of different ways of spoofing traffic, and one of the things that's pretty interesting is the way that we can do man-in-the-middle attacks by spoofing addresses. So I've got a piece of software here called Ettercap. What Ettercap will do is it will spoof based on ARP, or the Address Resolution Protocol, which we've looked at previously. So I'm going to do some spoofing based on ARP. The first thing I want to do is find all of the hosts on the network. And so I'm going to bring up my host list. This is my router, the 192.168.1.1. I'm going to add that to target 1. And then I'm just going to pick a bunch of other devices and add them to target 2. And now what I can do is just do an ARP poisoning. So what I want to do over here is run TCP dump. And TCP dump is like Wireshark that we've been looking at previously, but it's a command line tool, and we're not actually going to dig into the actual packets. We just want to see where they're going to. So we're doing a man-in-the-middle attack here. This is actually the man-in-the-middle attack right here. We've got a whole lot of devices that we're basically telling the network that this device is actually at my MAC address. So the physical address is being used to populate the network's ARP caches so that basically all traffic comes to me rather than anyone else. Let's actually kill this for just a second so we can take a look at one of the things. Opus is actually this system here. There are a couple of messages here that I wouldn't normally see because I am on a switched network, and so only messages directed to me come to me. Here's one, for example. So we've got something from apple.com going to Oliver. And here's another one right here. Now, these are messages that wouldn't normally go to me because I'm not actually Oliver. But what I've done here is I've told the network that I am Oliver as well as a number of other devices. And so I can get traffic to come to me rather than these other systems. Now, of course, I have to forward that traffic back out to them. Otherwise, it's pretty obvious that something bad is going on, and people can start noticing that their connections aren't completing and all of the things that they normally do on the network aren't working, in which case they'll start calling somebody. And it's pretty easy to figure out what's going on because they're going to see a whole lot of ARP messages going out saying, I am these other IP addresses. So one of the reasons that this works is because ARP has no authentication at all. The systems are pretty trusting, so if I send out a bunch of these ARP messages with no requests to match them, systems are going to say, oh, well, I should probably keep track of that information. They're going to put it in their cache. And so anytime they try to go to that particular IP address, they're going to look it up in their ARP cache, find that that IP address, or frankly, all of the IP addresses, come to my MAC address. And so they're just going to forward all of their messages to me. So that's one way of doing traffic spoofing. And we're actually spoofing addresses in that case in order to get traffic directed to us. In other lessons, we'll be talking about how to actually create false addresses at higher levels, and we'll be doing that with some other tools.